I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic and a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans.
And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field.
Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We could even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
This game is heating up, folks. Frank squares up like a butcher block on defense. Audie with the fadeaway. She's on fire! Literally, that is. The net has been burned to a crisp.
Hello and welcome back to the Cyclone Fanatic post-game show. I'm your host, Leah Nelson. Chelsea Poppens will be joining me in the studio to talk about your Iowa State women's basketball team just taking down Arizona State, and they will advance to the Big 12 quarterfinals tomorrow against Baylor. We'll get into it. We'll talk about it. But before we get started, as always, let's thank our sponsors, starting off with our good old friends at Fairway Meat and Grocery. We thank them for their continued support of our coverage of Iowa State athletics, and grilling season is almost upon us, so there's no better place to load up on quality meats than your local Fairway. Thanks to Fairway Meat and Grocery, a longtime partner of Cyclone Fanatic, and our friends over at Country Landscapes. If you're thinking about making a big move to your home this spring and summer, remember our friends at Country Landscapes. They have locations in Ames, Clear Lake, Des Moines, and North Liberty. They can help with any type of design, build project to your outdoor living space. From residential to commercial projects, let our friends at Country Landscapes create a beautiful outdoor space for your home or business. Chelsea, speaking of beautiful outdoor, indoor landscape spaces.
Speaking of all,
look at that. Look at all of that.
This is Big Bertha, one of my favorites. So definitely go get some landscaping.
Look at that. And you know what else is amazing? Big 12 basketball, Iowa State moving on to the quarterfinals. Woo-hoo. What are your initial thoughts right after that game against Arizona State?
I mean, hell of a start, but hell of a game by Addie Brown with 41 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if she had gotten 45, she would have matched Brittany Griner's record for 45 in Big 12 championship game. But, I mean, and Sydney Harris, both of those two really started off with a bang and kept the momentum going. I mean, we were 60% from the three-point 60% from the three-point range in the first quarter. We did cool off in that second quarter, but I mean, we were talking about how we haven't always started off with a lot of fire, and we definitely did this time. The one thing I would note in the beginning of the first quarter was like I don't think we were ready to defend, because ASU kind of just got to the hoop whenever they were like. I'm like, yeah, we did a great job on the offense, but defense was definitely struggling right out of the gate. But man, I got to give it to ASU, like Skinner and Brown. Like those are two of my favorite players to watch for ASU. They were both so dynamic and their ability to stretch, and like Skinner's ability to pop that mid-range right off the screen, and Brown's ability to extend and get to the hoop, like oftentimes whenever she wanted. So like kudos to them, but ultimately a great game by Iowa State. And for us to have 4 players in double digits, that's huge.
Besides the amazing scoring that we had, I mean, again, Addie Brown, 41 points, insane. You know, what really worked for Iowa State tonight?
I think like once Crooks, I mean, I love it when we don't have to rely on Crooks all the time. Right. I mean, obviously she got in foul trouble, and there's kind of foul trouble here and there. But that in and out game, Crooks had to adjust with Basham, the 6'7" presence. And I think that was really good for her to have that experience and to be able to learn how to adjust to playing players who are bigger than her. And like Parkinson, I think is a good like player up against Crooks. I think obviously our 3-point ability to score was a good threat. And I mean, at the end of the day, I'm always impressed by Emily Ryan and her ability to create for everybody else on her team and the composure that she always brings to anytime she's out there on the court.
I'd love your take on this. You know, I hate being negative, but I feel like Iowa State could have closed the door a lot sooner. They let Arizona State hang around. And obviously with Baylor tomorrow, they can't do that. So, you know, what are your thoughts on how Iowa State can just close the door, shut them down, and not let teams hang around?
I mean, kind of like talking about what we just talked about is that defense lacking. Like we can't play, like I know we won today's game, but it shouldn't have been that close. And we can't play that type of defense. Like, yeah, we had a good job offensively. I do think that we could have had a lot more movement. I think there were times where everybody was still standing because when the offense runs through Crooks, everybody's waiting for Crooks to get that position to create the offense. And I think that sometimes can be a weakness if other players are just standing around waiting for something to happen. But that defensive side is like, Baylor's such a senior veteran team, and everybody can score, everybody plays defense, and kind of like the Baylor coach Nikki said, like they don't want to be known for offense, they don't want to be known for defense, they want to be known to be to be a team that gets it done however it needs to be done. And I don't always think Iowa State is that type of player or type of team because the defense sometimes lacks, the scout sometimes lacks, but we have been trending upward, our trajectory and our ability to play well together, and everything else has been on the rise. So I do expect it to be a better game than when we played Baylor. When was it? I feel like it was just a couple of games ago, but I expected it to be a better game than that.
I'm really pumped for it. And you know what else I'm really pumped for? I'm pumped to talk about Keen Project Solutions. Our friends over at Keen Project Solutions, they're celebrating 10 years of innovation serving ag, industrial, and commercial customers with pride. You can visit thinkdifferentthinkkeen.com today to apply. They're great people and they make a great company. And our friends over at Central States Roofing, thanks to our partners at Central States Roofing for supporting our coverage of cyclones this postseason. Central States Roofing has been locally owned and in business for 56 years now and serving our local communities. Get the best Iowa roofing service from the top roofing company in Iowa. Central States Roofing has 3 convenient locations in Des Moines, Ames, and Fort Dodge. See more of what they can do for you at csroofing.com. Woo.
Ooh, mouthful.
Woo. Mouthful, but I love them.
Had a bit dyslexic moment.
CSR. It's a lot of letters and a lot of words. But yes, thank you, Aiden. Speaking of Baylor, you know, Iowa State is taking on Baylor tomorrow, 5:30 quarterfinals. You know, we'll talk more about it in the pregame. Don't want to give too much away on what people can expect, but kind of what can Iowa State do to prepare for this game? They've got less than a day. You know, how do you get focused and ready for a big game?
Yeah, I think just shifting that mindset. Today, as soon as this game's done, they're going to have to shift and start studying up for tomorrow. There's not really a lot of time to get that into the mind of each personnel and each player and what they're able to do. So, I mean, learning fast, and I think that comes with being a young team is learning how to shift gears on the fly. And this is a good test of that. But since we just played them not too long ago, I think they'll be able to remember a little bit better and take away the mistakes and all the learning things that we had to take from the last game. Defense, I think that's definitely gonna be huge, and they need to they need to put it in there as fast as possible and lock it in there, and just actually activate on it in the game tomorrow.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Cram. That's the word I was looking for. They need to cram.
I knew it would come to you, but Chelsea, I appreciate it. We'll be back here for the pregame right before around 5:00 before Iowa State takes on number 2 Baylor in the Big 12 tournament. Super pumped. Shout out Aiden for producing. Shout out to our sponsors, Keen Project Solutions, Central States Roofing, Fairway Meat and Grocery, and Country Landscapes. And go Cyclones.